Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Year's Eve edition of the NFL Wrap-Up. We're going to go through all the week's games. I want to please remind all of you to be safe tonight. If you're drinking, don't drive. Most places have a tipsy toe or free taxi or whatever, etc., etc. If you're old like me, you stay home. I have a good bottle of scotch, thanks to my lovely wife. We used to watch Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, but since Dick Clark has gone to that great top 40 list in the sky, I don't know what we'll be doing. Probably by midnight, we'll be watching the inside of our eyelids until our Chihuahua Millie wakes us up because she is terrified of fireworks. And here in North Carolina, people love their fireworks. Even though the ones that fly aren't illegal, they're legal in South Carolina. So let's just say there's a thriving smuggling business going on. But everybody be safe out there. Don't forget to have your black-eyed peas and cornbread on New Year's Day. If you're sufficiently southern enough, cook up a pot of collard greens and send me some pot liquor. I will not be cooking collards in the house. The stench is pretty house-filling, and we live in a small home, and it's going to be too damn cold to cook them outside. So there we go. I will live without my collards. Week 17 started out with blowouts and snoozers. Netflix paid a whole bunch of money to stream 2 NFL games on Christmas Day. What they got for their money is what should have been a great game, the Chiefs versus the Steelers, but the Chiefs blasted a 29-10 win over the Steelers. It wasn't even really close, and I'm sure Mike Tomlin at some point ate his hat. And then we had the Ravens making it even worse with a 31-2 win over the Texans. This wasn't even close. Do you remember early in the season, people were saying maybe this was the Texans' year? They were going to go to the playoffs, go deep into the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yep, didn't happen. Nope. The snooze fest continued Thursday night with the Seahawks managing a 6-3 win over the Bears. That's right. In one of the most high-scoring years in NFL history, these two teams, both of which have decent offenses, managed 9 points. Saturday started off the same with the Chargers with a 40-7 win over the hapless Patriots. If this had been the Patriots that had showed up in 1776, we'd all still be speaking British. Of course, technically we are still speaking British. It just sounds different. But I digress. Maybe the most exciting game of the year, though, was the second game on Saturday with the Bengals coming out 30-24 over the Broncos. The game ended after a doinked field goal in overtime, and this was a serious doink. Joe Burrow marched Cleveland down the field. Marched Cincinnati down the field, not Cleveland. Sorry, Joe. And he hit T. Higgins with a touchdown with 1:07 left in the overtime period, thus ending overtime by the NFL rules, and giving the Bengals the win. This came from after a heroic TD pass from the Wonder Boy Bo Nix for the Broncos, hitting Marvin Mims Jr. with seconds left in regulation. It was a truly amazing catch. It's probably one of the top 10 catches of the year. I wish I had the technology to show it to you, but I'm not that good yet. And Saturday closed with another snoozer with the Rams 13-9 over the Cardinals. There we go. Sunday started with more blowouts. The Eagles, without Jalen Hurts, 41-7 over the Cowboys. Used to be this was always the big game of the year. The Eagles play the Cowboys twice. For many years, it was the Cowboys beating up on the Eagles twice a year. Now it has been the Eagles beating up on the Cowboys twice a year. And I'm happy with that. Now, the big news in that game, of course, was Saquon Barkley. Saquon ran for 167 yards, ridiculous total, putting him 101 yards short of the all-time rushing record set by Eric Dickerson, I think back when they were all still wearing leather helmets. The Eagles have nothing to play for on Sunday. The Eagles are probably going to sit their starters. Saquon has said that he will do whatever the coach wants him to do. I think the coach is an absolute jackass if he doesn't let Saquon go out there and get the record. Come on. Come on. And of course, I know there's some of those nabobs out there that are saying Dickerson got it in 16 games. So if Saquon couldn't get it in 16 games, I want Saquon to get the record. So let's just move on from that. Let's see. The Buccaneers skewered the Panthers, the Cutlass Buccaneers, all that, 48-14. The Bills, 40-14 over the Jets. They sacked Aaron Rodgers 4 times, including a safety in which he dropped back and literally did not have time to get his head up before he was buried by Bills. It was really wonderful for those of us who are Bills fans. Go Bills. I cannot see why at this point Aaron Rodgers is not going to retire at the end of the year. I don't see the Jets bringing him back. I don't see another team being foolhardy enough to spend the cap space it would take to hire him. I think that Aaron needs to go retire and be happy with that and his piles and piles of money. We'll see. The Colts lost to the Giants in 45-33 in a high-scoring game that nobody cared about. The the Raiders beat the Saints 25-10 in another game nobody cared about. The Jaguars beat the Titans 20-13 in another game nobody cared about. And the Dolphins, without Tua Tagovailoa, I didn't have time to look up and see why he wasn't there. It's not a concussion. Get well, Tua. But they beat the Browns 20-3. The Vikings, this was a really important game, pulled off a squeaker 27-25 over the Packers, setting up a showdown on Sunday on the last game of the regular season against the Lions for the top spot in the NFC. The winner gets a bye. The loser slides to the number 5 wild card spot because you have to give the top spots to the winners of the divisions. That is sad to me. But the Lions right now are 2.5 point favorites, so we'll see. Sunday night, the Commanders pulled off a 30-24 win over the Falcons to keep the NFC South in a state of chaos. The NFC South traditionally exists in a state of chaos. There's been a couple of times in recent history when every team in the division ended with a losing record. So at least there are some winning records in there this year, mostly thanks to the Panthers, who are losing to everyone. Monday night, the Lions. Now, the Lions have nothing to play for. Absolutely nothing to play for. They could rest everybody and wait for their game on Sunday. But instead, they kept the starters in for the entire game and gave us, the viewing public, a really awesome game for the Monday Night Football finale. They won 40-34 over the Niners, thanks to an absolutely heroic defense. Offense. The Lions' defense has been shredded. Their injury list just looks like a triage sheet. It's horrible. But fortunately, Jared Goff has kept the offense going at such a high level that they've managed to overcome that. The old saying, defense wins championships. Goff might be the man to overcome that. They won thanks to that, and thanks to the fact that the Niners kicker missed 2 field goals and an extra point. I think that might have been all. I mean, the poor guy's, he had a high ankle sprain. He never took games off to recover from it. And I really can't blame him too much. And kickers are not something you can just go recruit. They're grown on a special planet called Soccerstan. So we'll see. Anyway, that is the next to last week of the regular season. We'll be back next week with a season wrap-up. Hopefully by then we'll have come down off the high of the Sunday night game. We'll have all your playoff pairings. We'll have winners and losers. We'll have maybe even some favorites going in. but I try not to pick the games. So, anyway, everybody be safe tonight. Enjoy your new year, and I will see you next week. Bye.